We are witnessed at all times. We are seen by angels. We are woven by the consciousness of the earth and invited more deeply into her presence. And this is part of a greater story that we can play more or less of a role in. I've known much about this for a while and yet have been unable to communicate it. And Thoth has told me that I've missed some pieces, that it wasn't time to share, and now it is. Gaia does this. She tells us stories. She changes them, and yet they always start in much the same way. Many are invited to be here to transform who you were, to start over, to forget and be reborn together, forging something new with each other here. She uses bodies, she uses water and earth and fire and air. And during the first thousands of years, she allows things that she will not allow in the future. She shapes these times on purpose because they are so painful. When you are initially invited into the experience of being in a body, you don't know what it is. Pain has no meaning to you yet. And thus learning that you may fight and prematurely end someone else's residence in a body is less daunting. You feel less fragile than you really are. Over the course of this time, karmas are destroyed and transformed, and you increasingly gain a depth of experience of breathing, cherishing the air, nurturing yourself in the presence of the fire, honoring its passion, and keeping distance from the many dangers that are present to the fragile experience of living in a body. As this time passes, know that she is in charge. You make choices, yes, but you're making choices with forces that she has chosen to put into play that were initially yours. You brought frustrations and resentments here. You brought impatience. You brought grief. You brought memory that you chose to leave behind. And to do this, she taught you to invest in and then leave, experience after experience after experience. Why would the earth allow such suffering, you ask? Because you don't even know what suffering is when it begins, not in an earthly way. The suffering you experience here is new, and initially it is preferable to the suffering you are leaving behind. She is helping you to leave what you have already forgotten. You must trust this in order to comprehend the gift that is now being offered to you. The cycles of invitation begin with hosts. I am a host of sorts. I welcome and guide and tend the story that she wrote. She wrote the first pages, the first chapters, and even the first books of the experience here that you have been invited into. The experience that you have been in for lifetimes is scripted. The wars were known ahead of time. The new songs were not. The earthquakes were known ahead of time. The new novels were not. You have been given the opportunity to create art anew, forgetting your relationship to musical structure and song and dance. And amidst the terrible horrors of endless conflicts and destroyed dreams that you know as the historical cycle, you find yourselves seeking new ways to love and find hope and to cherish dreams. You were given a fresh slate, a broad and open palette to create music as if for the first time, having forgotten old songs, which would have gotten in the way of you learning to be something new here. And now you are given an even deeper invitation. You have been in stories that were largely written for you. You would not write wars. You may attribute them to individuals who played the role of leading, but they were simply pawns in forces beyond their ultimate control. Sometimes they end sooner, sometimes they end with less pain, but they were set to occur. And amidst their wreckage, destruction of old ways of being allows you to forget forces that you can't even touch. You have gone through a grind, a destruction, a grinding down of old time into sand. And amidst this transformation, you must understand that sand is the ground for new soil. It needs you. It needs the hopes and dreams that get ruined through the course of history. They are not useless. They are the soil for new life. And this new life is here. You see, the long cycle that is ending has completed a process of turning sand into soil. The sands of the past. As you recognize this, please realize it is no longer necessary to keep writing conflict as the centerpieces of the future, the four you tore. She does not write these languages into existence accidentally. She changes them and transforms them through us. She did this through us. We have been present, guiding the changes, seeding the ideas that induced the transformations, inducing the trends that cause new words and ideas to come into form and common usage. With this awareness, understand that her ultimate dream is to embrace those who love the songs and the dances and the air and the wind and the fire enough to stay. Those of you who are choosing to stay have learned to love amidst this pain, have learned to love life here more than you resent it for being so traumatic. The reason you forget lifetimes is to leave the patterns of pain behind. And yet your capacity to love living is retained. You are the creation of the cumulative experience of yourself. You are the knowledge and wisdom of many lifetimes in the felt ability to love living. And as you bear this gift and choose it as yourself, tasting the ability to live more deeply day after day after day, cherish the recognition that you learned to love the sea many times. You learn to love swimming in lakes and rivers many times. You learn to love making shoes and dancing in one form and then another and then another. And you have not forgotten the deep presence of these memories. You have forgotten to blame. You have forgotten to hate. You have forgotten that you were betrayed and that tragedy broke the dreams. But you did not forget how to dance. And thus, as you are brought deeper into the presence of what is possible, what do you want to create? She has brought you all to the edge of the possibility, the potential to write stories beyond her need to control them. She has needed to control them specifically because they have been so volatile. She made the choices to end lifetimes of pain. She made the choices to induce wars, to say it is time to end this. She enlisted your help in building cultures and destroying them again and again, and you have played both roles through many lifetimes. Accepting this is becoming aware of the greater story. The story that has never been told was the purpose of this from the start. The many who leave do not want to be a part of what we are yet to create. What we are yet to create allows you to be more vibrantly present amidst the psychic and spiritual awareness of what is possible. What we have yet to create allows you to be so powerful you can initiate conceptions, allow them to become visions and felt sensations, and roll into the world as real, magnetizing beauty and love and collaboration easily and naturally. You can allow yourself to be so powerful because you no longer bear the hatreds that would also become real. And thus she does not need to write the stories that would channel your intentions because you are mature enough to step into a future, a For You tour that gives you this deeper magnificence. Here, eternal beings always have this power, but the parameters change in every incarnation, in every plane of existence. You have earned this place. Now will you use it? The pages are empty for a reason. She gets great joy in gazing into the future and no longer knowing what will happen. She wants your consciousness to participate in generating dreams and hopes, in learning to love beyond the boundaries of this plane, in learning to love from this plane in connection with others. There are many planets here that you can learn to love. We will learn to love them together and perhaps generate relationships between entire planetary bodies that are yet to be known. She does not want to make these choices by herself. She wants you to participate in being a part of her. And choosing to love in this way extends well beyond the confines of anything you could imagine until now. It is not possible to imagine the true depths of existence when you are surrounded by the pain of resentment, anguish, and vengeance. As these forces come to an end, you are put into a position where you can become aware of the true potential to love, and she is freeing you from the tracks, like a train that learned to drive. Where will we go together? We get to explore with a knowledge and awareness that our explorations are a gift to the greater whole. Our vote of what we may do. We get to trust with a recognition that we no longer need to fear the edge of the pain that it might cause, because everyone involved is living within a dance that will not turn violent in the ways it used to. The same patterns of connection and clashing no longer become war. The same dreams that could end in tragedy, you now know how to nurture them with such assurance that they will be real, and you get to gaze into a future not quite knowing what that will feel like yet. There is a story that has yet to be told. She told the old stories. She told his story. She allowed a dominance of masculine in order to induce directed transformation, to plow through the piles of karma that accrued again and again and again. And as you begin to comprehend the significance of this, you will feel it. You will feel and recognize that no dream was more important than ending the pain of the toxic pasts. And thus, again and again and again, things were made out of the karmic hatred and pain. They were brought into a density that was then destroyed, and then they were gathered and brought into a density and then destroyed again and again and again. And you lived and died amidst these forces in a way that is no longer necessary. What can you feel when liberated from the confines of these fears? What can you dream when freed from the tracks that bound us into systems that inhibited your dreams from getting anything more than a small little way? Because you were always in danger of having to let go too soon, and you always knew it, even if you couldn't put it into conceptions or words. You have known the rules, you have known the boundaries, and now you know, with deep truth present in your heart, that we are at the edge of the threshold of the transformation, and you can skip ahead into the future and be granted a tour that is for you, as long as you are willing to help write the new story.